He prayed for a hit, and he sure got it. Mark Farner talks about I Am Your Captain, Closer to Home, one of the most iconic songs. And listen, if you're one of the young ones listening to this channel and you don't know the song, do yourself a favor. You'll go on a trip. He prays for a hit, and listen to how it came down. This is really a solitary situation, which is songwriting in general. A guy getting out of his own way and just getting the inspiration. I Am Your Captain, Closer to Home, Mark Farner, Grand Funk Railroad on Rock History Music. Speaking of prayer comes up, you prayed for Closer to Home, I'm Your Captain. That's one you prayed for. Did you know at that point, were you solidified in your faith enough to know that you'd get something? Where were you at when you asked for it?
No, brother. Back then I prayed because my mother showed us to pray. And I prayed for the fire insurance. Now I lay me down to sleep. I pray the Lord my soul to keep. Yeah. If I should die before I wake, I pray the Lord my soul to take. These things I ask in Jesus' sake. And then I would bless all the family, everybody it would come to mind. I'd ask God to bless them. Now in the end, I did a little PS on it. And I said, PS, God, would you please give me a song that would reach and touch the hearts of those you want to get to. I did not have a clue that was an answer to prayer when I got up and wrote that song. I was not in a conscious state of mind. I was in a semi-conscious state, somewhere suspended between heaven and earth. I was there. And I think all songwriters go there and we bob for songs as they're going by. And I started writing the words, and it sounded crazy to me as I'm going. But I knew better. Something within me, I was reluctant to go back to the top and start reading. Like songwriters will write a verse, and then to link it together, we'll write a second verse that goes with that first verse. So there's an order to things, and we say it in such a way, and we might take verse 3 and swap it out with verse 2 after we get done, because there's an order that has to go in. But I knew better than to go back to the top and start reading that song again, brother. I had to stay with it. And by the time I finished the last words, I was so exhausted. It was like I couldn't hardly stay awake anymore. And I just put this steno pad I had, I put it back on the nightstand. I grabbed that sheet. I threw it back over me, and I was gone, man, like a turkey through the corn the day before Thanksgiving, man. I was out.
You put it all out there.
Yes. Until the morning when I got up and grabbed my guitar in the kitchen. I had a George Washburn that was a fine instrument, and it was an American-made acoustic guitar, and I started playing. I said, oh, that's kind of cool. And I go, and I reach over and grab this C. I was going for the G, and I went short and grabbed a C instead. I'd never heard this C. I didn't even know it existed till I played it, but it had a nice chime to it. The harmonics rang out, and then that kitchen, kitchens are great to jam in with an acoustic guitar. And I'm looking at the horses out in the pasture. I got a coffee on the table, man. Things are great. And when I hit that, it was like, those words, maybe it's a song. I go get them, and I start playing, and I recorded it on my little Sony. I hit the red button on that cassette recorder, and there I played it. And I took the song to rehearsal that day and played it for Don and Mel. And we put that song together that day, assembling, when that, am I in my cabin dreaming? That it had to have a breakdown. People say that song sounds like it was three different songs that you put together. It was. I mean, it was just the way it happened. It was just the dream. It was just the way that lyric turned out, and just the way God wanted it. And just so happens that a lot of our veterans, especially the Vietnam veterans who were active at the time, they got a hold of that music, and brother, they held on to the hope that they found in the words of getting closer to my home and return me to my home port. You know, I had none of that was even registering until I wrote the song, took it to the kitchen table, took it to rehearsal. We recorded it. And Tommy Baker, who did the orchestration for that, was the song leader on the Upbeat show in Cleveland, Ohio. And he was going to do all that instruments and the chorus out and all the outro of the violins and all of the things that come in, the French horns and the things that he was hearing. He says, Farner, man, he says, when you get to the end of that song, he says, go and go and go and go and go. And when you can't go no more, give me 10 more bars. And I'm going, okay, buddy. And so
Goosebumps.
Yeah. So I said to the guys in the studio, I said, Tommy wants us to just give him all we got it. And we gave it to him. And it was just enough. It was just enough to have the beautiful orchestration that came from his mind. And I think under the inspiration of the creator who gave me the lyrics. I take no credit for this song. I take the royalties, songwriters' royalties. Terry Knight's estate takes the publishing. But I was only 20. My mom had to sign the contract between Terry Knight and myself. She didn't know what was going on. I didn't know what was going on. I had no representation, legal representation. And that's where young musicians make their mistakes. They need to have an attorney, even if they can't afford one. They need to get somebody who is in their court representing them so that they don't get taken advantage of the way we got taken advantage of.
Remember, make sure you subscribe to our channel, join our Patreon, get early access to our videos. You can make a donation to the channel. There's a link in the very top of the description. Buy a t-shirt, spread the word. I'm John Bowden from Rock History Music.